first psalm. I'm going to tell you at the outset that I felt led to this psalm this morning, but I also have to make a confession. It's probably my favorite psalm. The message of it it represents something, I guess, to me. And hopefully, the Lord can make it resonant in your heart and in your mind as well. We're going to be reading the entire psalm in 16 verses. And there's one area that we're going to be focused on pretty strongly, but let's look at this word together. It says, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler, and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in the darkness, nor the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, and the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot." And then at this point here, the writer goes to the first person. This is as though God were responding, "Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I'll set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I'll answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I'll deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." Now the psalmist starts out with actually a very beautiful phrase. And I think that probably is what caught my attention the first time I ever read it. Just the phrase or the expression, because it's a graphic one. "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust." The picture that's presented here is of an individual living or dwelling, and that's the phrase dwell, is actually living there, abiding there continually, in the shadow of God's presence. Now, put that into perspective in your own mind. He's rejoicing in the fact that he can live in the shadow of God's presence. And at another point down the line there, he describes it as though it's kind of like the little expression that Jesus used of the chicken who gathered her chicks under her wings. He talks about living under or living and taking protection under God's feathers or under God's wings. The pictures or the word pictures here are so graphic, and he goes on to describe the various benefits of living in that kind of a setting. And it isn't that he's moved from one place to another, it's just that he lives in that kind of a relationship with God. And frankly, that's been my prayer for quite a long time. Lord, I want to live, like the psalmist says in the 91st Psalm, under the shadow of the Almighty. He talks about the protections that come along with it. And he's talking about protections for our daily life. He says, he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler. You know, are you familiar with what a fowler is? It's to trap birds. And he's describing that among us there are enemies that use nets and those kind of things to try to trap us. And what he's saying here is on a daily basis, I can depend upon God to deliver me from the snare of the fowler, from anybody that has ambition to trap me in some way or another. He's recognizing that this is not a friendly world to grace. Have you discovered that? And what he's saying here is that God, they're the kind of relationship in presence of God that he had before. He lost it. And he even lost the privilege of living in the garden. God moved him out of the garden for fear that he might eat of the fruit of life and live forever in that spiritual condition. It wasn't until Jesus hung on that cross and said, "It is finished," that the penalty was paid for that sin and all those that had been committed since then. The penalty was paid for. And when the angel of God, or whatever it was, force that God used, came and tore that veil of the temple, it says specifically it tore from the top to the bottom. I've been told, I don't know that this is the case, but I have been told that veil that they hung there, that they designed there, and you get the description of it in the lineage of the discussion of God giving direction as to how the veil should be made. But I've been told that it was a rather thick, heavy veil that hung there. It wasn't torn by human hands. And it was torn from the top to the bottom. That gives you the clue, folks, of who tore it. And what that was a graphic description of God saying, I've opened the doors of my life, and you can walk in and talk to me anytime. Think of that. No longer does it have to be done through some priest or some intermediary who sometimes hasn't lived the way they should in the first place. And he opened the door to make it possible for me to come back to that place where Adam was and walk and talk with him in the cool of the day. I'll tell you, folks, you can't duplicate that with anything. You and I have that privilege of walking and talking with him in close relationship and know that we're walking close to God. What did he say? Whoever dwells in the secret place of the Most High. You know where I think that secret place is? It is for me anyway. It's in the garden. It's right back where it used to be. Because God has spoken. God has spoken. Folks, we've got every kind of thing to be concerned about and fearful of and what have you in our day. We've lived in the best of it, but we're experiencing things now that we've never experienced before as a people. But I'm going to tell you, the garden or the evening walks with God are still available in the midst of all the fracas and all the confusion and all the concern that might be around us. You don't have to fish for something to be concerned about, because all you gotta do is turn your radio on for 5 minutes and you'll find out, or your TV, something that you ought to be afraid of now. But we have no need to fear, because God is I still have the privilege of those garden walks. I still have the privilege of living in the secret place of the Most High and to maintain a life under the shadow of the Almighty. And that's something to be excited about, folks. When all around us is confusion, we can take our confidence that we got that quiet place to get alone with the God of all the universe. And when I talk to him, he has promised to listen. I got 100% guarantee that when I want to visit with God, he will listen. It don't come better than that, folks. Amen? Amen. It does not come better than that. Let's stand together. Father, we are so grateful for the assurances that we have. We go back into the Old Testament and we see the marks and the signs of the declaration